Many of us started to watch the bold type out of curiosity until it became a guilty pleasure. From drama, romance, comedy, to wholesome friendships and a killer soundtrack, this show was the deal. Well, until it lasted. Join us as we try to uncover the reasons why the bold type was canceled soon after season 5. First up, a natural end. Some fans suggest that the show has approached its natural end, which is why it ending was the only option. For those of you who are clueless, the bold type premiered on Freeform in 2017 and later on Netflix, featuring 3 women who worked for Scarlet, a fictional magazine. Kat Edison, played by Aisha Dee, is the company's social media director. Sutton Brady and Jane Sloan, 2 of her closest pals, are also assistants, waiting for their big break in editorials and fashion. Throughout the show, the characters achieve their life goals despite the various challenges that are thrown their way. While Jane climbs the corporate ladder and Sutton becomes a high-profile stylist, Kat uses her social media skills to help others around her. Jane Sloan, Katie Stevens, Kat Edison, Aisha Dee, and Sutton Brady-Hunter, Meghann Fahy, juggled their careers, romance, friendship, and family for 5 seasons while maintaining their friendship in a very wholesome way. The 3 best friends go through their personal journeys that reveal who they really are and how best to leave their mark on the world. However, there were some twists and turns in the storyline which make us doubtful if the end was natural at all. For starters, Sutton and Richard's marriage encountered a major snag at the end of season 4, when Sutton said she would never have children. Soon after, Sutton returns to her family home after breaking up with Richard takes a toll on her and she can't stay in the city anymore. In a mess, she makes some bad choices which include hooking up with her married ex in a drunken spiral. There was so much to unpack there. Jane was juggling her personal and professional lives while Kat was encountering relationship problems, one after the other. And in all this, we see poor Sutton left alone to figure out how to pull herself out of a rut. But by the end, all's well that ends well with the 3 best friends, however rushed it may be. We think Sutton had the best character arc on the show because she ended up getting her sweet little happy ever after, despite all the ups and downs. Next, the fault in our storylines. As someone who watched the show avidly, there are quite a few things that are hard to agree with. Some of those plots were too good to be true, and let us tell you why. The bold type quickly and very cleverly crafted an escapist media world fantasy in which a career in journalism was as easy as a fully funded magazine, 500 words in sans serif a day, $1 million fashion closet to soothe any relationship woes, and bosses who supported a version of lean-in feminism that was inclusive and intersectional in a way that real life never was. Kat was able to get thousands of reactions on a single post, that too organically. And girl, some of those hashtags were straight out of a social media manager's nightmare. Somehow, no one at Scarlet appeared worried about layoffs or skeptical about first-person stories, hashtag campaigns, or well-intentioned photo shoots making the world a better place. Hashtag no hate, but real talk. How were the girls affording those apartments in New York on assistant salaries? While the bold type has always presented a rosy picture of the media industry, the show's initial marketing pitched it as a feminist fantasy, based on the life of former Cosmo editor-in-chief Joanna Coles, in which powerful and nasty women used grit and determination to triumph over a man's world that tried to hold them back. This surface-level hashtag girlboss atmosphere is perfectly captured in the series, even if it may be too far from reality. Speaking about Kat, Aisha Dee, who plays Kat on the show, wrote a lengthy Instagram post 2 days before the finale aired, criticizing the bold type for its lack of diversity behind the camera and questioning Kat's plotline in season 4. Her Instagram post came after weeks of backlash from her followers, and the bold type was forced to make last-minute modifications to Kat's character arc. Now, ratings on a free fall. The network has been tight-lipped about the show's official cause for cancellation, but fans suspect that it may have had something to do with something else, rather than the character's journey coming to an end naturally. We suspect that the cancellation was due to ratings, more than anything else. According to sources, the show's 4th season suffered a 32% drop in ratings from its 3rd season. The drop in popularity could mostly be traced down to the rose-colored fantasies that the show started to project. The bold type wasn't just reducing characters to caricatures. There was also the hard-to-digest notion that girls' magazines written by millennials for Gen Z could be serious, stylish, and sex-positive all at once. That girl bosses could rise together at work by supporting one another. That every single one of them could be nurtured by a boss that is super chill, super uplifting. And that friendships across race, class, and sexuality never got too tricky. The show's most disappointing pair pairing was Kat with Ava, Alex Paxton Beasley, a conservative lawyer whose powerful father, a board member at Scarlett's parent business, sponsors conversion treatment. The writers chastise Kat for being too closed-minded about dating Eva, despite the active harm her father was causing to a community Kat belongs to. In truth, the audience of the show expected more from the storyline and the powerful characters they had fallen in love with in the first 2 seasons. Next, the abrupt end. Like many shows that got caught in the middle of COVID-19, the series was already on its 4th leg when the pandemic struck. The creators revealed that the program will be taking a hiatus from production, but 3 weeks before the end of filming, the suspension was announced. And this is where it starts to get muddy. Sutton's not-so-subtle alcoholism, the unsustainably low wages at Scarlett for assistance, and Jacqueline's abrupt retirement were all treated with even more surface-level treatment than usual in the show's truncated final season. Jane and Sutton's arc, on the other hand, had viewers all confused as Jane left Scarlett to pursue further life lessons in Paris, while Sutton reconnected with her estranged husband. Also, can we be honest? Kat's story felt like an afterthought, with her taking on a profession she'd never shown interest in previously. I mean, from a social media director to running for the city council is insane, even for the bold-type standards. So, what could have been? Fans were left wondering what would happen to Sutton and Richard's marriage at the end of season 4, as Jane tried to reconcile her job and personal life with Scott. Fans expected the finale to focus on Sutton's efforts to mend fences with her husband, while Jane eventually takes over as editor-in-chief. Adina, Kat's will-they-won't-they girlfriend, had also reconciled with Kat. Despite the difficulties faced by the bold types last season, the show managed to create a satisfactory conclusion for fans. Sutton and her estranged husband Richard resolved to reconcile in one memorable episode of the TV show. This was not originally the plan, though. This happy ending was left at the mercy of COVID protocols, and thankfully the actor playing Richard was able to get on set just in time. Can you imagine our horror if he didn't? When writers of the bold type were asked about the details they could add to the story if they had more time, they simply wished for time to slow it all down, rather than coming to an abrupt end due to unforeseen circumstances. Jane could have had more time in Jacqueline's shoes. We would have been able to see her thrive more, and Jacqueline would have been able to see all of the reasons why she was willing to step back and give Jane that role. Jacqueline and Ian was a fun pairing. They could have been explored more, and we would have learned more about how Jacqueline came to the point where she was truly ready to break away. Another missed opportunity was with Richard and Sutton's trip and therapy sessions in which she comes face to face with her fears of becoming a mother. The real reason? We believe the real reason for cancellation of the bold type eventually ended up being a number of factors. Fans were upset to hear that the show's final season would consist of only 6 episodes, which is a substantial reduction from the show's typical 10-episode run in previous seasons. It was even more surprising that the cancellation came despite the show's commercial and critical success, which only grew tenfold when the show landed on Netflix. The truth is that no one knows why the program ended so quickly, except the decision makers at Universal Television and Freeform. The show's creators were absolutely gutted by the decision and had a really hard time saying goodbye. Tara Duncan, president of Freeform, noted in her speech that the series was brand-defining for the network. Wendy Straker, the show's creator, claimed the show was a gift that altered her life. That's a wrap for this video. What was your favorite character from the bold type? Were you happy with the show's ending? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.